PS, switch off the mic.
PS, thank you very much for that submission. Just want to mention that questions are arising based on our own laws and regulations as a country, not on how we can familiarize with the supplier or the word of mouth or assurance by the supplier, but we have the laws. We have the Public Finance Management Act and all others that manage, the Procurement Act and others that manage, that guide us how we should manage. Your submission that all the motorbikes have been delivered. Would like to find out when was the last motorbike received by yourselves, because as at August, based on this finding, not all motorbikes were delivered. So when was the last one of the 750 or the last batch or the single one received by yourselves? Secondly, the evidence, I asked about the evidence because only evidence amounting to 400 motorbikes has been brought in here for us to check. Where delivery and receipt by yourself for the remaining 350 motorbikes. To counter the issue of the security bond, you've talked about the bank guarantee, but we have not seen the evidence of that bank guarantee. Despite in your response, you are acknowledging this shortcoming that yes, they did not submit the performance security bond because they had these things X stock. I don't know whether you went there to see them, but they can have them in X stock. We are not the only customer. So someone else can buy them. So we have not seen the evidence of that bank guarantee that you
On when was the last motorbike, so the consignment for the last bikes delivered, as it were? You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. If my memory serves me right, this must have been delivered in September, the last consignment. And in terms of the guarantee, it's even got an appendix in the blue file. Here. You can pass this. And then you asked 3 questions. When was the last delivered? September. The guarantee was there. The third one, I missed it. You said evidence of delivery is right in front of me here. You can pass this file through. Delivery notes in totality.
Those files, pass them to Auditor General. They need to be looked at by Auditor General.
So 3 things.
Yes. They're in the blue file.
Oh. And I'm made to believe, Chair, they were verified even last time.
So they were in the blue file? They're in the blue file? Let's check, but the small file can also come with a bank guarantee and everything can come. They're in there. Honorable colleagues, let's check in the blue file pertaining the delivery, and then we can okay, so as we are checking in the blue files, any follow-up questions, Honorable Mwila, or PS? We can finish answering Honorable Mwila's questions. Then now we can verify the deliveries. So PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I'm being guided by my Acting Director of Finance that in this blue folder, they sampled, but the delivery notes in totality, is that whole green file.
Okay. Okay. So that, I think, subject to verification.
Thank you.
Honorable colleagues. Delivery, Auditor General, look at that green file which we've given you. Okay, they are looking at it, and the bank guarantee. Look at the bank guarantee. Follow-up questions, Honorable Mwila. And Honorable Umai, then Honorable Mwila.
Mr. Chairman, as a committee, we are here because of the Auditor General. and this Auditor General report is in public domain. To start with, the ministry has made a submission that they requested the Office of the Auditor General to go and do a verification, and according to them, they are shocked that Auditor General found a way not to go and do. If I had the controlling officer correctly, I would want the Office of the Auditor General to do that clarification, number one. Number two, Mr. Chairman, I want the ministry to help this committee understand these motorcycles. The ministry procured also motorcycles under Zamstat, and this committee would want the ministry to help this committee separate these motorcycles, where is the 750, if it has been distributed to provinces, or if it is in Lusaka, where are the motorcycles for the Zamstat. And the third question, Mr. Chairman, what moved the ministry to direct bid Honda Zambia? This was on 16th June 2023. Because why I've asked that question, Mr. Chairman, authority was granted on 16th June 2023, and as at 29th December 2023, a total of 37 million had been paid to Honda Zambia, and only 200 motorcycles were delivered. The 550 were awaiting clearance because of the introduction of the new law. So the question I have here, Mr. Chairman, since this was a procurement which began as far as 16th June 2023, so what stopped Honda Zambia from delivering the 7? Because this procurement started as early as 16th June 2023, and to pay our laws do not permit. Mr. Chairman, I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Mwila.
Yeah, in summary, my question on the liquidated damages, because this contract was supposed to have been fully executed by end of January, fully executed. Between the date of signing, 15th December, and the end of January, they could have chosen to deliver 1 or 2 or 3 or everything, but by the end of January, according to the contract period, they should have delivered everything. After 31st January, there were already signs that this contract is not being adhered to. So why were the liquidated damages not levied on the supply for anything delivered beyond the contract delivery period of 31st January 2024? But the response seems to suggest that it's okay even if we didn't, because they were all delivered. But a contract is a contract. There was a commercial engagement. Why were the liquidated damages not for everything that happened in the contract delivery period? I submit.
Thank you. PS, you have, I think, 3 or 4 questions from Honorable Lumai and Honorable Mwila. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The first question was directed to the auditors.
Oh, yes, yes.
I'll
yes.
go to the second
answerable and accountable before this committee on verifications. So if they didn't go, you must know. When closing the audit, you must close it with the officers, and when you appear before this committee, you must not be seen like you are doing audit, because we can't do audit you are one government. But what we expect is you must know. Verification was done. It's not for you to speculate. You must know, yes or no. Did your officers take the audit seriously? You must know that. I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Mkumbi.
Chair, the submission from AG's office is that let the controlling officer provide that data. Is it there so that they can verify that they reach their office?
Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I think the submission from the PS, she said it was not a letter. She said she chaired the meeting where she directed the officers to take the AG for verification. So my follow-up question is, in that meeting, did you have people from AG's office when you had that meeting? So we need to know if there were people from the AG's office, and then we can pick it up from there.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and also I think PS, you can proceed and answer those questions. But to that point also, the directors were present in that meeting. Whoever this project is falling under, I would want your submission, as it were, after the PS has made a submission. Can proceed, yes.
Thank you, Chair. Clearly, the meeting was for Minister of Agriculture and the auditors. Clearly stated, please let us go and verify. And the directors, all of them were there, and they are all here. And the director, who is a user department, is also present. So maybe we don't have to struggle so much and listen to the director, who is a user department. That's what I would say on the issue of verification. But certainly, Chair, the invitation to verify was done by myself.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Then Honorable Wamnyema.
Thank you, Chair. Since it was a meeting, then there must be minutes of that meeting, because this is a government program.
Thank you. I don't want to digress from the 4 questions. So let the user department also speak. Then we proceed with Honorable Lumai's questions and Honorable Muila's questions, because these are now follow-up questions. So now, once they make submission, then we can make follow-up questions. So the user department, you can proceed. Yeah. And usually, PS, we know that government procedure. You can have a meeting. Once you have a meeting, we do a formal letter, which occurs all correspondences that Auditor General are addressed either to the Auditor General himself or the Deputy Auditor General CSD, so that now they can formalize and then officers are sent. But I want your user department to proceed and make a submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to invite Director Chizumba Shepande to just say, to give a few remarks on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Director, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, PS. For sure, like what PS has already mentioned, we had a meeting in the conference room, and I even mentioned this last time we met here. It was in the conference room, a meeting that was chaired by the Permanent Secretary of Administration. I was there, and many other directors were there. And one of the things that was asked was about the motorbikes, and she did ask these motorbikes where they were, and we knew they were at Zari. At first, the first purchase that came was 200, which we stored at Zari, because if you come to the Ministry of Agriculture, we're on the 3rd floor, 4th floor, no storage facilities there. So the motorbikes are at the Zambia Agricultural Research Institute. When Zambia Agricultural Research Institute got filled, we had to write to the Director General Zamstat to ask for more space, and that's why we were told that no, it's possible that we can bring even as much as 1,000 motorbikes can get fit at Zamstat. And in that same meeting, one of the officers, I think is it Mr. Kachali, he sat next to me from Auditor General's office. Is Mr. Kachali around? He sat next to me, and we even said, no, Zamstat is just behind the Ministry of Agriculture. We can take a walk. Others are at at Zari. And that's where we ended, that it was that we had the motorbikes, and there's no way we can hide these motorbikes because they're so big, and that's where we ended. The PS, because at that point in time we were actually preparing the distribution schedule for the different provinces, because we had this number is going to Copper Belt, this number is going to Central. At that point in time we were busy making the distribution timetable and distribution schedule for the different motorbikes, which one will go, how many will go to which province and stuff like that. And that's the time we were making those things. And I was very aware that we had 200 at Zari and then 550 at Zamstat, in the basement, rather, in the basement at Zamstat. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, that's a submission from the user department. PS, you have the two questions remaining from Honorable Lumai and Honorable Muila. We can extinguish them, then Honorable Amnima will come with the follow-up question.
Thank you, Chair. I'll go to the question that was asked by Honorable Lumai to say, Zamstat gave you motorcycles. I would like to clearly distinguish the two consignments, or rather the two things that we're talking about. The donation from Zamstat as regards motorcycles was not in 2023. It was in 2020, 2021, 2022. And the motorcycles that came from Zamstat did not come to Ministry of Agriculture head office. No. These motorcycles were distributed from the provinces. We never set our eyes on those motorcycles as Ministry of Agriculture headquarters. Zamstat dealt with the individual permanent secretaries in the provinces, and the motorcycles were taken straight to the various provinces. So we never played a role in distributing those Zamstat motorcycles. Chair, I submit on that one. Then I come to the motorcycles that we purchased. The motorcycles that we purchased from head office were purchased. Those that were delivered were stored, some at Zari, some we got permission at Zamstat because they have a bigger space. They even have records. When you take, they register what you are keeping, they lock, they secure. So those ones were kept like that, those that we were accountable for. Coming to the issue of the 5% non-compliant damages, I would like to invite, Chair, with your permission, my head procurement, to just take us through on this. With your permission, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know, Honorable Mula, your question has been answered. Okay, or liquidated damage. Okay. So, head of procurement, you can proceed on that 0.5 per week of liquidated damages. Thank you. You can proceed through the PS, the head of procurement.
Thank you, PS, and thank you, Honorable Chairman. The issue of the 0.5% liquidated damage did not arise. Why did it not arise? The supplier had not breached any conditionality as regards to delivery. Lightly as have been indicated by the area speakers, these items were ex-stock. They were at the supplier's premises, some of which we even started moving it to the premises, to the storage spaces which we had found at Zari and also at Zamstat. So we only invoke this clause where a supplier has breached on the delivery part. That's when you can claim for that. And this is why this clause was not invoked, Honorable Chairman. And the members, I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Muila. Last intervention, we made progress. Honorable Muila, you can proceed.
Yeah, Chair. This submission keeps coming that the supplier had the motorbikes ex-stock. When the Zambia are just there in the CBD, Ministry of Agriculture, the distance between the two of them, where I can simply say these motorbikes were being delivered to your storage place within Lusaka. Now, if you had all the 750 X-stock, should it have taken 9 months to move them? Because the first delivery was done in December of 200, according to your records. The last one was delivered in September. What kind of X-stock material to move within Lusaka can take 9 months to move? How can X-stock take 9 months within Lusaka? And then you are saying the issue of liquidated damages did not arise. You yourself signed the contract, which was to end 31st January. After 31st January, the contract breaching had commenced. Was it within your contract clause that delivery, as long as we have seen them, delivery can happen anytime? As long as they held these items, they had not delivered. So X-stock taking 9 months, and you justify that there was no need to charge liquidated damages. I would like to understand what type of contract was entered into, and why it had to take 9 months to move within a radius of 10 kilometers at a maximum, I should say. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed. Through the PS, I think head procurement, you can amplify on what the honorable member is asking. X-stock, it was sitting at Honda Zambia. What transpired? You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I would like the head procurement to just answer him on what type of a contract they had entered into, because they do the contracts. And at the same time, there was a question that you asked to say, why did you direct bid? I think I heard something like that. So I would like the head procurement to take us through. But before that, I would like to just elaborate a little bit. Honorable member, I think I earlier said in my earlier remarks that, look, these motorcycles were not assembled. They were in pieces. So there's a question of assembling. It's not a one-day thing or a one-month thing. It takes quite some time. Secondly, there was an issue where we're told to hold on, because we needed to redo some paperwork, because there was a tax that needed to be paid, the element. So we needed to redo all the papers through and through, go back to AG's office, just go through the entire process to normalize the purchase. Thirdly, time was not with us. December, honorable member, this time where we are, as I'm sitting right now, I have less than 20.
PS, you address the chairman. You address the chairman. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, sir. Sorry for that. December is a very crucial month, Honorable Chair. You know what happens? You pay the money that you need to spend for the particular procurements of that year, or you lose the money and you get into trouble. So we looked at the issue where Treasury is always failing to meet our demands, and we saw it necessary, sir, that we clear this and not lose out, because the procurement had already commenced, the delivery had already commenced. They already demonstrated the strength that these things are available. It's just a matter of time we complete assembling and delivering. So why would we have not paid them and then lose the money to Treasury and never to come back and remain in problems? I submit, Chair. Perhaps the head procurement would like to add a few things, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll give my comment after head procurement. Head procurement, you can proceed.
Thank you, PS, and thank you, Honorable Chairman. Addressing the issue, why, I think if I heard the member correct, said, why did you use direct bidding as a method of procurement? I think that was the question. The Public Procurement Act provides for different and various methods of procurement that a procuring entity can adopt and use on each respective purchase that is embarking on, and direct bidding is one of them. But to use it, there are conditionalities that we follow. There is what we call the Ministry Procurement Committee, which is the highest level of approval. Before this is adopted, what we did to procure this, we took to have this cleared before the Procurement Committee, which was done. So since that was done, that is okay. And also, the source also is not questionable. They comply with all the registrations as statutory, or rather the law demands. Then the other question was...
Let him finish, honorable members, and you have follow-up questions.
The other question, the same delivery, why did you extend? We did not extend, actually. What happened is that the supplier delivered. When we are talking about delivery, what was incapacitated us is because we lacked storage space. And there were these formalities, such as the introduction of the taxes and the duties, which kicked in. That was also an issue that had to be resolved. So that's what compromised. But in the meantime, this supplier had delivered, had made these stocks available to us, which was even vetted. We went through and saw the stocks. Some of it, 200, came to a space which could accommodate it at Zari. And that's when now we went out of our way to look for other storage spaces. And also complying, like the PS indicated. You know, these things comes in pieces. So for them, as they come in pieces, we really need to have this supplier at easy premises. I would call X-Works delivered. As X-Works delivered. As it delivers as these premises, just to start assembling and bringing it in a complete form. Because if they brought it in pieces, I think in Ministry of Agriculture, we do not have expertise who could have done that work. So this is why it's seemingly looking like it delayed, but it didn't delay because of just these encumbrances that are involved. And as we speak, Honorable Chair, the 750 motorcycles have food been delivered and have been distributed to the various points where they were required. So this is where we are.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Mai.
Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Mkumbi, you follow.
Mr. Chairman, the question was very simple and straightforward. It is you, Director, in the Department of Agriculture, who sought authority to direct bid Honda Zambia Limited for the supply of 750 motorcycles, direct bid Honda Zambia, and period for delivery was supposed to be 14 days. This is the query. On 16th June 2023, the Director for Department of Agriculture sought authority to direct bid. So meaning it's you who generated this memo, maybe to the PS or maybe to the minister or to whoever. Now, when you are direct bidding and you are saying delivery period of 14 days, and that is Honda Zambia, and you have admitted rightfully that Honda Zambia had X stock. So meaning all the 750 motorcycles were parked at Honda Zambia. So when you were pushing the documentation for authority, you knew that Honda Zambia had already X stock. Now today, Mr. Chairman, I've asked him a question to start with. Why did he decide to sought authority to direct bid 750 motorcycles for the period of 14 days, and 37 million was paid in cash? So at the time of audit, all these motorcycles were not delivered. And from this folder, we have got samples of delivery notes, and in the green folder, now you have given us a full delivery report. Are we together? So my question was, why did you choose to direct bid and the period of 14 days? You knew Honda Zambia had X stock. It's like you had sat with Honda Zambia to say, you guys do have at yes, we have X stock. 14 days at yes, we're going to deliver. Now, at the time of audit, the motorcycles were not fully delivered. And now you have brought in an issue to say, because government had introduced new regulations to clear these motorcycles. So my question was, why did you overlook the Public Procurement Act?
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, let's summarize our questions so that we can manage time. Honorable Amima can proceed before I make a comment.
Chair, the issue here is not the law provides for direct bid, therefore there are conditions which, you see, you can't direct bid, then a delivery is dragging. I mean, you as a procurement officer must justify the purpose of direct bidding. What is Honorable has told you, X stock, you know, but it's, for me, Chair, this procurement process, the procurement also must just be clear, because it's not just about spending before money returns to treasury. It's also about right price, time. I mean, why the delivery must be prompt. So, can he explain properly? If he feels that the conditions upon which the Act precipitates direct bidding satisfy this procurement?
Thank you. Maybe before I comment, Auditor General can make a comment on direct bidding so that we are just on the same wavelength. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The laws of this country allow direct bidding, but there is a condition that there must be authority from the Ministerial Procurement Committee. So if that authority was sought from the Ministerial Procurement Committee, this process maybe was okay. But if there is no authority from the Ministerial Procurement Committee, then there is a challenge. I submit.
Thank you. So I heard the head of procurement saying there was authority which was sought. So maybe just provide us with authority, and then let's look now at the intricacies. I think the procurement process, according to what is sitting now, where you get authority for direct bidding, and it's but let's look at, I think me where I want the ministry to really look at first and foremost. I think this, honorable colleagues, is slightly similar with the CDF ambulances. You direct bid, but you put a short delivery period. Then you because where you are failing is just everything else was X stock and is there, but I think we need to look at assembling. It's 750 motorcycles, almost 1,000. It's not a small job, but you need to look at also synchronize it with your delivery period. Instead of you putting 6 to 4 weeks, just put even 8 to 24 weeks, so that you have ample time for your supplier who has a stock, because you saw it. So it's doing the direct, then putting a lesser delivery period. That's where we're having an issue. So when you are direct bidding, also look at the processes it's going to take. I think that is just my advice before we proceed, because this has to be in tandem. We are not dealing with 20 bicycles. We are dealing with 750. So now I think where I also want to understand is what law changed which caused the delay. Because we are saying this was X stock with a supplier, so which means the supplier had already procured the stuff. If it was removal in bond, it was bonded at the warehouse, and they needed clearances with ZRA, yes, but I think I just want to hear more why I think the delay, because it was there. If the law changed that taxes are supposed to be levied, then I think just make us understand. We do understand the processes. Then Honorable Wamnyima, I wanted Auditor General to comment so that we all agree on this process. Honorable Wamnyima, you can proceed.
Chair, in fact, we are synchronized on the law provides on direct bidding. But what was, if you are going to direct bid and put in practical delivery terms, then we are saying that the direct bidding is not in good faith. I think that's what we are saying, straightforward. If you are going to direct bid and put in practical delivery terms, the delivery period, of course, because you see, Chair, procurement for us is not about always open tender. It's the same issue we had with ambulances. You are direct bidding, you are saying within 16 weeks, 156 ambulances. How do they come? 6 weeks. When should they be assembled? So the Chair, for me, I think the concern is that if your direct bidding is being informed by saying that if we do the normal procurement, it will take long. But then 6 months later, delivery is still happening. Then we don't understand why you direct bidded.
Thank you. So PS, you can proceed. I think there was a question wanted to just clarify issue of direct bidding. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for that information, because we all know it, that there was an MPC that sat and presided over the issue and gave a directive on how to progress. Rather unfortunate and regrettable that the document had 14 days as a period for delivery, which looks practically impossible. Now, Chair, I am being guided here with my Director of Finance that I think sometimes it's a question of writing. In this document we have here, Chair, it says with a delivery period of 4 weeks to 6 weeks and delivery date being 31st January 2024. This is the guidance I'm being given. So the issue of 14 days, I think these are issues of, it says delivery of 750 motorcycles and helmets with a flotation period of 14 days, not delivered. So it was flotation for 14 days, but delivery, it's saying here 4 weeks to 6 weeks. Delivery date being 31st January 2024. The document I have, I think, is clarifying what we are discussing.
PS, we maybe Auditor General, if PS, is that a contract you are reading from? Yeah, I think we are with you. What we are saying is, if you look at the contract you gave to Honda Zambia, the processes of direct bidding, you follow them. Authorities sought, or we just probably would want eventually the authority from the Ministerial Tender Committee, which is fine. But what we are saying is, when you are doing these things, be reasonable with your delivery period, because it's saying 4 to 6 weeks. It's not attainable for 750 motorbikes, even if they are X-stock and they're in boxes, are boxed, to assemble a piece by piece for that 4 to 6 weeks. That's what we are saying, in short. We're saying, when you do the direct bidding, provide for a bigger delivery period to safeguard yourselves and you also your supplier, because you look like he has failed. That's why we are comparing to the same procurement of CDF ambulances. It was the same direct bidding by ZAMSA. Then what happens is short delivery period. Then they fail to deliver within then now there's the extension of contract with what. So these are some of the, I think, issues moving forward which you need to guard against, because queries ruminate based on that moving forward. I think that's what also Honorable Wamnyima was saying. Yes, Honorable Wamnyima.
Yeah, just to augment what you said, PS Section 46 of the Public Procurement Act is clear. The objective of direct bidding is to achieve timely and efficient procurement where the circumstances or value of the procurement do not justify or permit the use of competition. Now, Chair, for us as a committee, I think the concern is you take away competition and there is no timely delivery. It's a bad procurement system. It doesn't matter, Chair, whether it's approved by the ministerial committee. The issue is that the statutory conditions of direct bidding are clear. Yes, so here they were not met because this was, if for example it says due to an emergency, there is urgent need for the goods. The goods took time. So I think for us, PS is not really to say ministry you shouldn't direct bid. Our concern is that direct bidding, it should be here. The objective of direct bidding was not met.
Yes. Thank you. Honorable colleagues, let's have progress. Verification will be done on this. We advise the ministry as we make progress. Honorable Mukumbi, you can proceed. Failure to obtain clearance from ZRI before payment. I think that's what we can proceed on those.
Chair, allow me to draw the PS to page 43. Failure to obtain clearance from ZRI before payment. And there are two districts that are cited in this query, that's Kaoma and in Keyema. In your response, you are saying these officers are not accounting staff. Well, agreed. I'm an accounting staff as well, but I'm able to obtain ZRA clearance. So tell me, what technicalities are there in obtaining a clearance from ZRA? Do you need to be an accountant, or what skills are needed if these officers are serving? What is it that is so difficult in obtaining ZRA clearance? The second question is, in your collective measure, you are saying authority has been given to you and approved to employ accounting staff for Western Province. Are these workers employed and are they working? Chair, submit.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Failure to obtain clearance from ZRA before payment. I think to some extent the Honorable Member has clearly answered indirectly by saying, does it require a skill or a qualification to remit the tax? I think, Honorable Chair, this role of dealing with tax has a specific department that works on it, or rather the job description, or there's a JD for someone to do this. It's not anyone who wakes up and say today I will remit tax on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture. I think we are all employed for specific roles. And seriously speaking, the current structure of Ministry of Agriculture did not cater for accountants or assistant accountants in these districts. Therefore, this proved to be a challenge because there are 16 districts in Western Province, if I'm not mistaken, with 4 accountants to manage this whole work, resulting into such issues. So we can clearly state that with the new structure coming, which we have already finalized and submitted at MDD, we have requested that we have accountants in our districts in order to never experience such issues, because definitely these will keep reoccurring. For as long as we don't have these accountants, assistant accountants in these districts, we'll keep having such challenges. Chair, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mkumbi. Follow-up question?
Chair, the issue here is simple. It's about obtaining clearance from ZRA for the 79 transactions that were done. I believe in other districts also in Western Province, you don't have accounts. How were they managing? Accountants, sorry. How were they managing? What was the problem with these 2 districts? I know Western Province probably only have 4 or so. We were told last time the PS was here from that province. Also in the Ministry of Agriculture, you are well organized. You have provincial accountants, you have all that. Why didn't they get advice from the provincial administration or from the PACO's office on how best to deal with these matters? So the issue here is just obtaining clearance, a small matter which anybody can do, including myself, who is not an accounting officer. That is the question that is in there. Chair, I submit. And then I ask the question, are they now employed the 17 that you have mentioned in your corrective action?
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. With your permission, I would like to invite my Director of Finance to elaborate further on this matter.
Thank you. The Director of Finance can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I'll comment on the issue of the accounting officers not being available in the districts. Chair, I should be quick to mention also that as a ministry, we were appointed to be an agent for ZRA. and the mandated department to do that. There are certain things that we do is the accounting, is the finance department. Just like the PS has already alluded to, in Western Province, for example, out of the 16 districts, we only have 4 accounting officers. Kaoma and Nkeema do not have accounting officers, but we depend on accounting officers from other departments, and that is as and when they are available. So in times when they are committed with their substantive stations, you find that we don't have anyone to do these accounting procedures. But going forward, just like the PS has said, with the proposed structure that we have submitted to MDD, we are hopeful that we'll be able to be given accounting officers, then these things will be non-existent. I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. Honorable Mukumbi, are you?
Yes.
Okay. So progress.
Chair, page 44.
Yes. You can proceed.
Honorable Rumai wants to say something.
Let's make. If is it on the same issue, Honorable Lumai, or?
Mr. Chairman, as the PSC stated here, in all the 10 provinces, the officers are watching. Mr. Chairman, I was telling the PS that as she seated here, her officers in all the 10 provinces are watching. And now, Mr. Chairman, we have this query here, failure to obtain clearance from ZRA, and she has rightfully submitted that the officers do not have accounting knowledge. But now, while we are stood here, Mr. Chairman, if the PS does not give guidance, because if it is a query which has come before this committee, we expected if it was something which they could have resolved, like the accountant has said, Director Finance, that they are urgent for ZRA. It is an issue which should have been resolved at audit level. So now, what I want to get from the PS is, what message are you sending to the people of Chavuma? Because we may also not have an accountant. And this query may also come before the MDD approves your structure. So, what is the way forward?
Thank you. I'm very reluctant, but Honorable can proceed.
In the right perspective.
Yes.
The query which we have at hand. The issue here is not necessarily that your staff failed to get the clearance. The issue here is your staff failed to have a checklist before the payment. The supplier should have a clearance certificate when he is paid. So maybe if you could provide a checklist. That's what is here. It's not, no staff who makes payments gets the tax clearance. No. It's the supplier to get the tax clearance. If he's not compliant, he's not supposed to be paid. So if as you are putting it, that your staff mainly is our non-accounting personnel, maybe if you could provide in future a checklist of what they're supposed to look out for if they are doing the payment.
And this is an administrative issue. PS is just providing a checklist. And before you pay anybody, they've got a tax clearance, like Honorable Mfarari is saying. Then you make payment. So this is the issue we're bordering on.
Chair, yes.
I want to make progress.
No, Chair, before you make progress, I think what Honorable Mai is saying is true.
Yeah.
It's a standard of government now. Before payments, people must be cleared. The issue is your suppliers of goods and services must be tax compliant. Now, you don't need to be an accountant. You don't need to be an accountant, Chair, to ask ZRA if Tondolo Enterprises is tax compliant. Because you want us peers to tell you that we do business with government. You want us to declare interest. So Chair, we need to be serious with this issue. We do not need to skate around this issue. You can have a tax clearance certificate and not comply the following month. You can have it for June. Your payment is coming in July. You did not file your returns. So if your officers don't have checklist, if they can't write to ZR, I mean, Chair, we must not accept this laissez-faire attitude in government. You don't need to be SCCA to. I mean, we have National Enterprise. We don't say that we should do, employ an account. So, Chair, this one, failure to obtain clearance from ZRA. This is one government, a government-to-government interaction to say, before we pay, are these people compliant? We should not talk of accountants on this particular issue.
Thank you. Thank you. Order, Honorable Member. You started mentioning SCCA. We have SCCA people here. And chartered accountants, not diploma or certificate. So PS, I think this is a simple issue. Certainly, like honorable members are saying, and Honorable Mkumbi was saying, it's in Parliament you say it's a non-contentious issue. It's just to provide your either if they are administrators who are doing these things with a checklist, make sure you attach the tax clearance every time you are paying to show compliance. Period. Done. Let's make progress. This is the administrative issue. Your message, PS, you say it later. I want us to make progress. Honorable Mwamba, you can proceed. No, it's you. No, it's done. Let's proceed to page 45, management of assets, uninsured assets, and then title deed. Then Honorable Lumaya, I know where he is. You can proceed. Is at the end? Yes, not now. So proceed with those two. Then honorable members will proceed to Honorable Daka and Honorable Mfarari on the infrastructure. Honorable Mkumbi, then finish. You can proceed and finish then now.
Chair, I'm looking at irregular use of accountable interest in Vubwe.
Yes.
And then there is irregular procurement of government documents. I think this is in Onze. Controlling officers on page 44.
Page 44 on your submission, controlling officer. Then after that,
after you've seen those two queries there, these are purely administrative issues. What measures have you put in place as a ministry to enlighten people or those that are involved in accounting on the use of procedures that are there? For instance, are they well conversant with the financial regulations? Because if they are, or if the Department of Finance is able to move in two provinces to go and enlighten many officers, these queries won't be reaching here. So what measures have you put in place as a ministry to ensure that we don't have such queries next year? Chair, submit.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed on those two items.
You, Chair, I think like you have guided clearly. This is a question of lack of seriousness on the officers. And all I can say, Chair, is it's regrettable, but be rest assured these ones were dealt with. These officers were charged because this is unacceptable. That's all I can say. And going forward, we just need to enhance our monitoring, seeing whether people are being compliant and the right things are being done. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. PS. Progress. Honorable Member, can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Page 45, management of assets and insured motor vehicles. Controlling officer, in your submission you stated that the motorbike for Kaoma district was a donation from Zamstat and was received without a GRZ reg number, whilst the 4 motorbikes from Kaima could not be insured as they were non-runners at the time of audit. Controlling officer, I have 3 questions. So my first question is that why did it take auditors to query you for you to start the process of registering the motorbike? And secondly, on 20th of May 2024, you wrote to the Controller of Government Transport. So kindly inform the committee on the current status
of the motorbikes? Because as per your Appendix 40, there has been no acknowledgement of your letter. And lastly, what measures have you put in place to avoid the reoccurrence of this query in future? I submit, Chair.
Honorable member can also ask on title deed. The two questions, then we'll be done with this. We'll revert back to it after infrastructure. There's a query on title deeds. You can proceed. So
Page 46. Controlling officer, title deeds for parcels of land owned by 29 stations, on which 392 properties were located, had not been secured with title deeds as at 31st August 2024. I'll ask two questions. The first one will be to enlighten the committee on why you are failing to obtain title deeds. And secondly, why have you not provided evidence showing the initiation of the process of obtaining the title deeds? Thank you.
thank you. PS, those two questions. You can proceed on title deeds and uninsured motor vehicles. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The issue of uninsured motorcycles or motorbikes. Indeed, this was a donation from Zamstad. So these are some of the motorbikes that were donated by Zamstad that I spoke about. Those that were taken directly to the various provinces. And truly speaking, yes, this motorcycle, this particular one, was not insured. And it also came to my knowledge that this one was a non-runner. But that does not mean that it should not be insured. We can only stop insuring these once they're declared not worth for use and they're going to be disposed of. So that was a serious oversight on our officers in that district or province, which should not happen. We have advised them that they must refrain from not insuring assets like this. And going forward, it would not happen. And in as far as I'm sitting here, I have realized that the insurance has since been done. And I think this is the evidence that it has taken place. Thank you. And then coming to the aspect of the issue that is speaking to...
Order, PS. AG. PS, you can switch off.
Thank you, Chair, and the PS there. You see, we are having something that is coming out of this, the donated motorbikes from Zamstad. They are not registered, which means that it's not only at this station, they don't have government registration marks. And you know, there are some bikes that the ministry bought to take to the respective districts. How safe are we that these motorbikes will not be commingled and will be claimed to have gone there when they didn't go there? And then some people may even be using this same excuse or weakness to domesticate these bicycles and personalize them. Thank you.
PS, you've heard the submission from the AG.
Thank you. One thing that I must assure this House is that the motorcycles that are being procured by Ministry of Agriculture, we are not releasing them without one, registering them, two, insuring them. So the entire process is being undertaken. So those that are being procured are taken care of in totality. But those motorbikes that were donated and taken without us knowing, they were taken to the districts. One, the conditions in which they are not known. Only by the PSs in the various provinces and the officers that were at the receiving end are able to tell us the conditions. But going forward, there are records in these provinces of these motorbikes that were donated. So the provincial office must be accountable for these. The permanent secretaries in the provinces must account because they received the donations. So I'll take it there's records. There are records to this effect. So these two must not be mixed. I submit, Chair, on the issue of the motorbikes. I now come to the issue of title deeds.
Point of order, before you proceed, Chair. Yes. In relation.
Of the mic, yes, Honorable Member.
Okay. I am in receipt of the insurance of the motor bikes, which was done today, and unfortunately, the expiry date. This insurance is only for a quarter. For the 4 of them, only one is insured for the whole year. So, what guarantee would you give the committee that the bikes remain insured? Because this seems like a reactive measure, just to come and window dress the particular committee to say that they're insured, because there's no way insurance can be done today. 18th of December is today. They were done today and only for 1 quarter. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed, address that and the issue of title deeds.
Thank you, Chair. The particular motorcycles belong to Western Province. And Pako Western Province arrived this morning. So I've been given this document now here that this has since been done. So I can only rest assure you that going forward, we've taken note. This will not arise. We'll give a directive that all those motorcycles that were donated and are being used by Ministry of Agriculture must be insured, of which I believe this has been incorporated in the current budget. So they'll be insured definitely. Thank you.
Proceed on title deeds, then you have a follow-up question.
Thank you. The issue of thank you, Chair. The issue of lack of title deeds for the many assets that are all owned by Ministry of Agriculture. Indeed, there are quite a number of assets, as we can see, that have been highlighted there. I would like to just reassure this House that, Chair, this is work in progress. We have constituted a committee as Ministry of Agriculture, not now, but earlier, like I think this year, that is sitting to look at these assets that need to, number one, go for mapping, those that are at a stage of numbering, those that are at a stage of design, those that require to have a title deed procured. It's been a long time issue, not a recent issue, because when you look at some of these assets, some of them were obtained from, take for instance, some land, customary land. Some they're still negotiating. Some the traditional leaders are still, diddly-dallying maybe to say in releasing the land. So there's still a number of things that need to be taken care of. So, Chair, I can only assure you that the processes are actually ongoing. Yes, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Amnima, then I want progress.
Chair, I just wanted to find out from the PS, for example, like this, the Zamstat donated motorbikes, on which asset register are they supposed to sit? If they are not really registered with ZI, insurance is coming today, I just want to know, where are they accounted for? Is it with the provincial administration, once they are given there, or with the ministry?
Thank you. PS, you can proceed. Honorable Daka, get ready, and Honorable Mfaradi. You can proceed, PS.
Thank you. I've been guided here that these are sitting on the Ministry of Agriculture Asset Register. That's where they are sitting.
Thank you. PS, if they are sitting on the register, have them insured. It's as simple as that, because they are still your assets, since they are sitting on your asset register. Progress. Honorable Daka, we are going to deal with infrastructure maintenance on this new submission, and Honorable Mfarari. So this one has got a physical inspection of plant carried out in all the provinces which have been cited, and I want to look at them as such. Honorable Daka, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. Yes, with your team. PS, as a committee, we know that this is a legacy matter, because if you look at these dilapidated structures, it shows a certain character with regards to how your ministry looks at maintenance. Therefore, I'm sure you have come along with someone who is in charge of infrastructure in the ministry, because the questions that we're going to ask will be directed at the person in charge of infrastructure in the ministry. And you see, as I was browsing through, if you look at some of the pictures, although they're not very clear, but like this, this a house, a camp house in Skongo, literally you can see that there's a very huge crack. This is a structural crack, which is emanating from the fact that the foundations somewhere that have collapsed and they cannot hold the structure anymore. Controlling officer, this directs us to a question, a very simple and straightforward question to the one who is in charge of infrastructure. The committee would like to find out whether you have got any strategic maintenance plan for the ministry, because there is no way the structures can dilapidate to an extent to which we have seen as a committee. It's quite regrettable to see government structures being dilapidated to this extent. And you know quite well, PS, that maintenance lengthen the design period of this structure, and hence if the design life is lengthened, which means government actually is going to make savings with regards to how much they're going to spend on renting for its staff on housing. Therefore, in short, we'd want to find out from the ministry if you have got any strategic maintenance plan to follow, because from the picture we can see that actually you don't have, but want to appreciate if you have at all. I submit.
Thank you. PS, this issue of infrastructure is a privilege. As a chair, I can ask a question anytime. So we want you to give us a roadmap on how you intend. Yes, we know government has been grappling with funds in terms of maintenance, not you alone, but you want us to give us an assurance. What is a roadmap? Because we've got our officers who are sitting and saving in the same infrastructure, and some of them are just appointed, then sent to those places. How then do they have morale to be in a roof partially is leaking? They can see who's passing outside when they're sleeping. You see, we've seen some of these. So what strategic plan do you have to ensure that with a tight fiscal space, the issue of infrastructure is mitigated? Before we proceed, the Honorable Farad, you can proceed if you have any question. I want to do a follow-up question, sir.
Chair, maybe let me do a follow-up question.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The issue of maintenance on infrastructure in the Ministry of Agriculture indeed is something that does not make us comfortable. As personally, as a controlling officer, this is one of the issues that I'm really grappling with, and it's giving me a serious, I'll call it a headache, because I look at the numbers that we are recruiting. And then we need this infrastructure. We need these training centers. If agriculture has to, the agriculture sector has to improve, and we need to, and if the agriculture sector has to seriously deliver, we need to work on this infrastructure. But I'll be very precise. Year in, year out, we are given a ceiling on how we should direct. The ceilings that were given towards certain aspects is just a drop in an ocean. So we really cannot make progress in terms of infrastructure. But talking of a strategic a plan for this infrastructure as a ministry. Chair, I want to mention to you that Chair, I want to mention to you that we are not just sitting. We have come up with a strategy on how we will go forward with this infrastructure that speaks to, number one, camp houses, those that just need rehabilitation, those that need to be demolished, and those that just need just simple maintenance. Clearly, from what you have seen, there's an amount of money there that was spent. Okay, this money was allocated for this financial year, which we distributed to the various provinces for them to do the procurement of the contractors to run with these dilapidated camp houses, because that is the money Treasury managed to allocate us as Ministry of Agriculture, specifically for camp houses only, not FTCs, not FTIs. So I'm saying to you, Chair, we
yes, what are FTIs and FTCs? We are losing us.
When I say FTCs, Chair, I'm referring to farmer training centers.
Okay.
FTIs are farmer training institutes.
Okay.
Yes, because the things you are seeing there that have cracked and are beyond repairable. Some are FTIs, some are FTC. Sorry, Chair, to shorten up. My apologies.
It's okay, PS. I was telling the colleagues that as we are from the mines, all we know is a shaft and the mining training center. I can proceed.
Yes, Chair. So I'm saying to you, Chair, indeed, we really want to do so much, but we are restrained because the finances that keep coming through cannot even manage, not even 1/4 of the camp houses. So going forward, we need to seriously find a way of how to get money that will help us attend to a larger number of these assets that are quite embarrassing in their state. Chair.
Thank you, PS. Honorable Mfarari, can proceed.
I thank you, Chair. The question was, do you have a strategic maintenance plan for your infrastructure across the country? I think that question was asked when in your absence, when there was another team, and we were assured by the person in charge of infrastructure that he has the infrastructure strategic maintenance infrastructure plan. Maybe he could share it with us because we would want to look at it. Further, Chair, I've seen there are other blown off roofs, and I hope from their strategic plan to ensure that they don't continue having some of these roofs being blown. A blown roof sometimes is an indication that there are no trees around the structure and people are not planting trees. I hope the PS would do, as he leaves, would tell us, actually we also have a plan to plant trees around our institute.
Thank you. The one in charge of infrastructure, where is he?
Chair, Engineer Chindumba is available. I'm sure he can give us a short briefing.
Engineer, take the seat. I like people to take that seat so that I can see them nicely, but it's fine. You before you proceed, take note of the question. The director in charge of infrastructure, Honorable Daka, can proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. Controlling officer, you have cited inadequate funding with regards to financing infrastructure. As a ministry, are you not considering embarking on triple P models where you partner with the private sector to are you not considering other models of funding? Because it's very clear that from government side, it's quite difficult. There's a very tight fiscus with regards to funding from government. Have you sat down with your team to consider triple P models of funding? I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Amnima.
Chair, I sympathize with the PS because I agree with our submission on ceilings. But these buildings, they're in constituencies with members of parliament. Have you engaged them to use CDF PS, have you engaged the members of parliament to use CDF because I can tell you, PS, this is a serious note. I have chair in my constituency in one ward, a completed house for I think a camp officer. They're not staying there. They want to stay in the CBD. The house is complete, and now we are going to give it to the teachers. So these are some of the issues that I think as a ministry, yes, you are the executive, but you'll be waiting for us to extend your ceiling here. We can't. You know that we are debt servicing. So have you engaged members of parliament to say, can this help us through the community, what development committees?
Thank you. Especially members of parliament here have seen Western Province and Eastern Province and Central. Let Honorable Member, you come. Let them. There are 1, 2, 3 questions. So Director was in abeyance. You can proceed and answer Honorable Mfarari's question. Then PS, you can answer Honorable Daka's question, Triple P, and also CDF. So Director in charge of infrastructure through your PS, you can proceed. Honorable Lumaya on page 66. That's where you're starting from. You can proceed, Director.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, PS. The issue of infrastructure in the Ministry of Agriculture, like PS has just said, is really a very thorny issue. And I'm sure learned members of Parliament here know that these structures were built a long time ago. And there are some of them, their structures, integrities are questionable already. So what we did as a ministry was to come up with a strategy of working with what we have. So we looked at all the number of houses that we have and that we recorded, and thereafter we requested the provinces to look at those that are whose structures are still in better condition, and those that are in bad condition, recommend them for demolition. So what we are basically doing is to rehabilitate, and not only rehabilitate, upgrade, and also redevelop structures in camps and blocks. Most of that infrastructure you are seeing is actually, that is how it is marked.
So, Director in charge of, are those things you are telling us in your strategic maintenance plan?
Yes.
I am told you promised that the committee that you bring, maybe you can, I think Honorable Mfarari is asking for a copy. Can provide us with a copy of what you are reading from so that we can appreciate.
Chair, what we just basically did was to do an extraction of what we have as our strategy, and that is what we provided in this report. But we haven't come with it here.
Thank you, Director. I can switch off your phone. I'm told you vividly promised this committee when I was not around that you bring the plan. Honorable Mfarari can proceed.
Chair, yes, Chairperson. I think Infrastructure Director promised us that the plan is there, and we were waiting for that afternoon. Unfortunately, they left unceremoniously. So, but we are looking forward to the strategic plan today, and we would really have, we would really want to have a sight of it now, and that's why we want it. But hearing the director talk, I realize I'm a very good listener, and I listen very attentively. The problem which you have, Director, there is you are concocting something that is not there. You are telling us in one breath that you have all the structures, you have a register of the structures, and you have looked at them, But you have further gone to say you have also asked the provinces to recommend what should be grazed, what should be built, and so forth. I think you don't have a plan of how you would want to achieve your maintenance of your infrastructure, in short, because we are listening very, very attentively to your submission. Do you have a strategic maintenance plan? I think that's the question we're asking you. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. PS, you can answer Honorable Amima's question and Honorable Daka. Then I'll revert back to the Director Infrastructure. Please take some water before I get back to you. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I should start on a note where somebody was tasked to bring a document and did not bring it. Unfortunately, Chair, I wasn't around, but it's unfortunate that they've not provided you with a document. In my view, it does not exist. It would be very good, to be honest. I have, as controlling officer, never seen that strategic plan document other than seeing reports from various provinces that speak to the infrastructure that we have under Ministry of Agriculture, and also the reports that are specifically stating to what needs to be done and where we are and the budgets and the like. Yes, that is there. But in terms of an actual document that is a strategic document speaking to the way forward on what and how and the objectives and aims is not there. Then now, coming to Honorable Daka's question, the issue of partnering with private sector indeed is a good thought. And as a ministry, we will try and exploit and see how far we can go with it. That I can only say. But I can suffice to mention that certain infrastructure under Ministry of Agriculture, we've already partnered with private sector. We have, for example, in Mpongwe, have brought on board a private sector to develop part of the land, and they put up a training institute, which we are grateful. There are other institutions that we are in talks. We're still talking. So this is happening, except we're not so much into the entire country, but just dotted around. So thank you for that idea. We will definitely embark on it, and we'll go for it. We'll explore it. It's a welcome move. CDF. Frankly speaking, we've never engaged local government as to whether we could go into some partnership where they can begin to handle some of our infrastructure in terms of rehabilitations or reconstructing or rebuilding. That we have never had that discussion. But in other areas, yes, we've had discussions speaking to other things, but not infrastructure. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mwamba's follow-up question, then we'll get back to the Director Infrastructure. Oh, Vice Chair? Yeah, okay, first Honorable Mwamba. We can proceed, then Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Just on page 1, during the period under review, an amount of 50,786,748 was given to like various provincial centers for rehabilitation of camp houses and FTCs. Chairperson, through you, I'd like to ask the controlling officer, what is the current status of works in all the provincial centers? Because as at April 2024, there was no regular maintenance of any of these properties. So would you give the committee a highlight on what the current status is in connection with the funds that were released amounting to 50 million plus?
Thank you. As per strategic plan. Vice Chair can proceed.
Chair, mine is not a question. In the first interaction with the Minister of Agriculture with this committee, the Director Infrastructure promised this committee that he will bring the strategic plan. And today again he consolidated his response by saying that he has. But the PS, the owner of the ministry, said they don't have. So is the Director in order to mislead this committee that they have a strategic plan when they don't have? And the second part is not a question also, it's maybe just an advice to the PS on the issue of CDF. For me, I don't see it, you going to local government, because we have different constituencies in this country, like those from the mines, maybe they don't need the camp houses, but we need camp houses, especially in the rural areas. So for me, which I even told my officers on the ground, it's better the officers, they work with the WDC to do the submission of the project through the wards where those camp houses are. It's easier than going through local government, because local government will give a directive for all the constituencies across the country. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair. The person in charge of infrastructure, now that the PS has said you don't have a strategic plan, kindly withdraw your statement and then we can make progress on that aspect.
Thank you, Chair. Through the PS, we withdraw the statement and apologize. What we basically would want to assure the committee is that we have a strategy on how we are rehabilitating.
Yes. Director, just end there, you withdrawn.
I end there.
Thank you. PS, you need to answer a question from Honorable Mwamba on the 50 million which was funded. What is the progress we've made? And the question for Honorable Mufarari falls off because there's no strategic plan. It is at liberty to ask another question. But PS, you can proceed with Honorable Mwamba's question. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The question from Honorable Mwamba. I would like to begin by stating that the money that is in question was given to Ministry of Agriculture by Treasury specifically for camp houses and not FTC. So the money was directed towards camp houses and not FTCs. Unfortunately, the auditor misguided themselves when they wrote this. Very clear. Budgeted in the yellow book for camp houses, not FTCs. If I took the money for FTCs, that would definitely be misapplication of funds. Then we have a total number of 757 camp houses, of which 451 camp houses have been targeted to be rehabilitated. Those that are in a state which they can be rehabilitated. With the funds that were released as at 30th November 2024, a total of 278 have been worked on and are still being worked on, with a difference of 173 which is yet to be looked at, or rather in progress. So I am saying to you, Chair, the money was not meant for farmer training centers like the auditor wrote here. It was meant for camp houses, and the money was sent to the various provinces to do the procurements and the supervision. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, PS. The Auditor General was whispering something. I think we will give position on that aspect. I think yes, it's camp houses, and also audit is also done from the provincial, then escalated to headquarters for consolidation. So that is correct. So honorable colleagues, will make progress. Honorable Umar, you can proceed on page 66 of the earlier submission, the bigger one. Misapplication of funds, Nansanga, Serenje Dako, failure to withhold value addition tax, and outstanding obligations 42 million. Then lack of rider competence will be done by Honorable Mula is not here. Honorable Daka, Honorable Amnima can do the lack of rider competence license for extension officers. Then I would do AD 87, the one to do with ZRA. phytosanitary services and all that. I think I'll combine one question and then we can proceed. Those who've got questions on that, you can also accompany me. So Honorable Lumai, you can sum up those questions and ask one question in 4 questions. You can proceed.
Mr. Chairman, page 66, there's a query to do with the misapplication of funds, Serenge DACO. The submission, the amount involved is 400,000. According to the audit report, what was misapplied was 103,768. In their submission, Mr. Chairman, they have told this committee that the committee may wish to note that funds were released to the Ministry for purpose of farm block development. The funds to Musokotwane farm block were meant for the following purposes: land acquisition, community sensitization, stakeholder engagements. Now, the answer this committee wants from the PS: why didn't you resolve this query at audit stage? That is one. Number 2, Mr. Chairman, can the controlling officer help the committee understand of the 103,000, if their defense is that this officer was right to use this money because he had to engage the Chief Musokotwane and to sit with the community at Chief Musokotwane. So how much money did he use? Was it provided for in the 400,000? I submit, Mr. Chairman.
Proceed to the next one also. Failure to withhold value addition tax. I want the PS to take the 3 or 4 questions, then we make progress.
Mr. Chairman, as guided, there is also this query: failure to withhold the value added tax. Solwezi DACO 34 transactions involving 1.499. Another one is 481,000. Kasempa is 105,000. Mwenilunga 114,000. Mansa DACO 248. Mr. Chairman, the controlling officer's response is the issue of not having accounting cadre in the districts, and they have submitted a structure for approval by the management. So the question I have for the PS: is it still your submission, PS, that because you have non-accounting officers, such transactions of 1.499 can just go without the hand from the provincial director of finance to direct these officers that you are supposed to meet these obligations? Like I stated earlier, Mr. Chairman, that people are listening. So if we allow officers to be spending these amounts of money without withholding tax, and the reason for this is because these officers are non-accounting officers, then what message are we going to be sending to the officers in the ministry? So why was this allowed to happen in this way, PS, when we have got director of finances at all provincial head offices? Mr. Chairman, I submit.
Thank you. PS, I also want you to elaborate and also tell us how do you intend to dismantle the 46 million kwacha, which is outstanding obligations on all the 8 provinces: Central Province, Southern, Western, Copperbelt, Eastern, Luapula, Muchinga and Lusaka. You've got outstanding obligations of 46 million kwacha. Coupled with Honorable Lumai's question, you can elaborate on those 3 questions. Then I'll allow Honorable Wamnyima to ask lack of rider competence licenses, as it were, for Southern Province Extension officers. So you can proceed with those 3, then Honorable Wamnyima will come with the last question on this paragraph. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I will take question number 1 and the last question. Then I will invite, with your permission, my Director of Finance to pick up question number 2. Thank you, Chair. Now, talking of the first question that speaks to misapplication of funds by the Serenje Dako over the Nasanga farm block, I would like to just bring the committee to speed that this activity we are talking about here was not for Nasanga farm block and the Dako Serenje. No. The auditor erred in putting it in this way. This activity was an activity for the Musokotwani farm block, Southern Province. This is an approved activity in the Ministry of Agriculture, budgeted for in the Yellow Book, with the money specifically speaking to this, with 3 objectives. Mainly 1, land acquisition, 2, community sensitization, 3, stakeholders engagement. Now, how did this money work, the 103? Southern Province, the team that was constituted to go and visit Nasanga farm block to show the stakeholders on Nasanga farm block being the best practice so far, had to travel from Southern Province to Nasanga Serenje to see, and this team comprised of 1, traditional leaders, which consisted of headmen, some subjects, chief subjects, some officers, some Ministry of Agriculture officials, a whole range of people budgeted for an activity approved with money sitting in the Yellow Book, Chair. But I'm surprised the auditor picked it and said misapplication, whatever it is, for Serenje Dako. The Serenje Dako is not involved in this whole thing. So this is misrepresented, Chair. Very clear.
You can proceed on the next question, then
the third item.
AG.
Thank you, Chair. The third item, which speaks to the 48 million, how are we going to dismantle it? This is speaking to PEs. Chair, this we have been battling with this, struggling. I'm sure we'll continue to struggle, because as I am talking to you, Chair, right now, I've only received 7 million 3 days ago to pay against 87 million. So I'll pay the 7 million, I'll accrue another 20 million. We are not moving, we are not making progress. Treasury is incapacitated. We can't clear this debt. It's a legacy matter, but we are making all frantic effort to see how best we can pay off, or rather dismantle this, Chair. I submit, and I would like, with your permission, to invite my Director of Finance. Thank you.
Director of Finance, proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'll speak to the issue of withholding, us failing to withhold value-added tax in Northwestern Province. Chair, I think it's regrettable that most of these issues that are bordering on finance department keep on popping up. But really the biggest challenge that we have is what I alluded to earlier. The lack of accounting officers in this station is making us really difficult to follow these financial regulations. All these things that are coming out from the provinces and the districts are bordering on that issue. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, PS. I hope you've made a budget for sensitization. Also collaborate with Accountant General's office, so that some of these your people can be sensitized on these basic things where you don't have accountants, withholding tax, tax compliance, to ensure before they make a payment, those I think are low-hanging things we can do in the interim. We know the fiscal space is not good for us to say we employ or you will get as and when we get. I know you submitted to MDD, but that will be another process, as it were. So, honorable colleagues, we make progress. Honorable Amnima, competence, then I'll go to the last 889. Then we'll conclude.
Thank you, Chair. PS on page 70 of this submission, we have an issue in Southern Province of lack of competences extension officers. 116 selected agriculture extension officers were riding motorbikes without obtaining rider's competence license. So, PS, my question is that what challenges were there for these people to get competence before being allowed to ride? I can see in your corrective action that you have written, the committee, you state that the province has written to all the said officers. This PS, looking at appendix 44, the letter is dated 9th September 2024. Now the committee is concerned that the ministry is being reactive, and this is something that should not even see itself in the Auditor General's report. Before these people are allowed to ride, they must be competent. So we would like to appreciate the challenges that were there to allow 116 field officers to ride motorbikes without competence. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Wamnyima. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Wamnyima, I would like to be as precise as I can. This is just regrettable. It's a sad movement. I mean, it's a sad issue where you have officers that are riding motorcycles without the competence certificates. It's actually regrettable. And definitely, my officers in these districts, in these provinces, especially the PACOs, I would like to assure you that we will not leave it at that. We will address it, and we'll definitely take the necessary action, because it's unacceptable, because this can cause to serious accidents if these people are not competent and they don't have this certificate. So it's regrettable. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. We proceed to 89, and PS, Honorable Mula, I can supplement on this. Then I'll come in just to, because this issue I think we dealt with last time, issue of ZRA and the ministry on permits, phytosanitary services, ZITWE. Your estimates were below, but you collected more. Can we work on more realistic targets? Because we are more by 25 million PS. I think it's important to relook at our estimates of this revenue. Then I'll allow Honorable Mula to proceed and ask other further questions. Just in summary, and also supplement you, Honorable Mula, you can proceed. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling officer, I think this issue even last year, as the Chair has mentioned, we'd just like to have an update. We've seen the references you have put, the correspondence between the ministry and ZRA regarding the lack of integration of the Zambia electronic single window and the Ascuda world. How many times have you engaged with ZRA, and what has been the impediment to integration? Because as the findings show, the government is losing revenue. What you are authorizing is not what is being imported or exported in terms of quantities. So some things are passing behind your back, beyond what you have authorized. So what exactly are the discussions you are having with ZRA, other than just writing a letter and waiting for them to respond? What engagements have you been having? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Responding to Honorable Muira's question, Chair, I would simply say, indeed, revenue is being lost. However, we have tried our level best to engage ZRA on this aspect. We have had, personally, I have had 2 meetings with them earlier on. My colleague PS had the last meeting with them. So we've been trying to make frantic efforts to see how best this integration can take place. But more of it, Chair, I would like to be very precise with you that it can only take ZRA to resolve this matter on the side of ZRA, not the ministry, because they are fully in control of their SCUDA world. We don't have any access to a SCUDA system, but they're the ones who should, in short, spearhead this whole activity. We can only beg and talk, but if they don't respond and act, we'll still remain where we are. I submit, Chair. Perhaps I can invite one of my chief accountants to explain further the discussions and what needs to be done, because on our part we have done everything. It's on the part of ZRA that it should be resolved. Boyd, Chief Accountant Boyd.
Thank you.
With
The
your
Chief
permission,
Accountant,
sir.
yes, you can proceed.
Thank you so much, PS, and through the PS chairperson. As you may wish to note, Ministry of Agriculture under the 2 systems are just end users. Both systems are ZRA systems. So, the need to integrate both systems remains with ZRA to ensure that the loss that is being mentioned by the auditors do not arise. So as the ministry, we have kept on engaging ZRA and we wait for them to integrate the 2 systems. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Allow, before Honorable Mwila comes in, allow Tajeno to make a comment. Then Honorable Mwila, you come. Then we wind up. Honorable Mwila will be your last intervention, then I can conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think just a correction. The ministry has the responsibility to monitor the permits that they give for the exports, whatever exports we are doing there, and those are managed on their SCUDA world, which is the customs management system also, which manages the exports and as well as imports. Now, in this case, how do you reconcile? Because the reconciliation should be done by the ministry to ensure that the information that has been reflected on the exports is valid. You need to check what was actually processed in the SCUDA world. So you have also to take keen interest. You can't leave it to ZRA. These payments are issued by yourselves, so they are just processing them there. So please, I think I needed to make this clarification. The ministry is also supposed to have an input. Just have to apply for access rights to the SCUDA world. It will be better that way.
Thank you, Honorable Mwila.
Chair, maybe through the PS, let's hear from the Chief Accountant, because my question that seems to have been clarified by the AG.
Thank you. Chief Accountant, you can proceed. You've heard that the ministry has got a responsibility to reconcile. You issue the payments. So do the reconciliation and acquire rights from ZRA. I wish you came the day before yesterday. ZRA was here. We're going to tell them to give you rights there and then. Proceed, Chief Accountant.
Thank you so much. Through the PS, as indicated, we have continued engaging ZRA. We have put a number of letters here that we have written to them to ensure that the system is integrated. However, when such matters have arisen, where the numbers of imports and export have varied, we have indicated to ZRA. Before they appeared before this committee last year, we have letters attached here. We indicated to them through our records. So as at now, through the PS chair, we can account for all the import and export made by ourselves. And the excess imported or allowed into the country or out by the ZRA chair, we look forward to ZRA to integrate the system. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry to
thank you. Yes, you can proceed.
I would like
yes.
to beg that my Chief Accountant explains how we reconcile. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Before I proceed, Honorable Omnima.
Chair, this issue is coming up for a second time. Last year we had it, and I think we made recommendation that the ministry and ZRA must have a seamless mechanism of reconciliation, and that the issue of the Ministry of Agriculture to make efforts to have access to a scooter. It was in the same room, PS. So I think, Chair, it's a bit difficult for us to make recommendations unless if you are not there. But it was in this same room, and I did give an example that we have experience in dealing with these things, and we understand that in the absence of reconciliation, we have a different position from ZRA and a different position from the ministry. So, Chair, with this, it's a repeat query. I think the ministry must take serious action, or as ST comes, let the PS and ZRA come here and explain why they are failing to have a seamless reconciliation. It's not enough just to write letters, wait for response. There must be a time when you sit down to reconcile, especially as we culminate into audit.
Thank you, Honorable Amnyuma. And PS, with your team, we would like to thank you most sincerely for coming before this Honorable Committee and attempt to answer some questions as it were by the Honorable Members this afternoon of the 18th of December 2024. We're very grateful. However, you have a lot of issues which you need to deal with as a ministry. The way the ministry is robust, I think your other queries are emanating from your provincial places. Yes, you've mitigated some issues, you've improved on some issues, but you can do much more. And what we want you to do is much more from what you've done, because there's been a reduction. We should commend you, but you can do much more. Because even all these issues which are emanating, I think you can mitigate them as it were. We've seen you come here with the piles and piles of documents. So what we are saying, we don't call you here to humiliate you or to look down upon you, but we want accountability, which will bring in good governance and foster service delivery to the Zambian people. And you being one of the strategic ministries, I think it's very, very important, together with your directors and your staff, that you push to higher heights to ensure that these issues are mitigated. Some administrative PS, the issue of tax compliance certificates, we shouldn't be talking about that. Issues of imprest, that is just increasing your pages of submission. We shouldn't be talking about that. Issues of title deeds, issues of maintenance of some of your facilities, those are not issues we should be looking at. Issues of sanitary, I never will call it services, and with ZRA reconciliation, we I think I need you to come and sit with the ST. ZRA are coming with the ST, Ministry of Education, and other ministries to sit here and see how we can harmonize and extinguish that issue of the interface. ZRA should tell us why they're failing to do that, as it were, so that we can have a closure to that. What you permits which you issue and what they clear through a scooter, they are reconciled, and you can have an interface to look to say, okay, this is what is transpiring in the system, as it were. They should give you rights, because you are the ones who are generating those payments. It's like you are just giving, you don't know what they are clearing in the system. What about they are also generating others and pushing in the system? You can't know. So I think we need to have that interface, as it were. The rest of the issues are basically issues which you can work on. We've also advised on the issue, if you do direct bidding, it's allowed. But what we're saying is, just fight yourselves in terms of also delivery period, because you go a faster route and then you clash on the other side. I think it's important that those are harmonized. Even your colleagues were telling the Ministry of Health that you cannot have a direct bidding and then you give a shortest period to do products such as ambulance which are not made in Zambia or which are not assembled. You cannot achieve. Then you just put yourselves in unnecessary pressure on the contractor. So let's help the Zambians who are out there bidding and trying to get the jobs, that it synchronizes with what, according to our Procurement Act, what we do, so that we have ample time. Even yourselves, instead of coming to appear here talking about motorcycle 750 for 2 hours, it's one of the issues which you can be done properly with planning and execution, as it were. So provided public resources are protected and they go to the intended purposes. So the issues of the accounting cadre in some of your provincial places, Accountant General through their office they provide those services to sensitize. So if we cannot employ and take there, let's have a sensitization where now we can sit and tell these our colleagues the basic things they can look at when they are giving a payment or they are doing a payment, as it were. Issues of incomplete what, store and what, those are administrative. Let's work on that. Let's have measures put in place and also ensure that the Public Finance Act number 1 of 2018 is enforced. Tell those officers in those provinces, districts, if you do this, you are gone. If you do this to disciplinary action, and you know, civil servants, we don't want to see a letter of disciplinary on your file. It doesn't look nice when you're going for pension. So let's make sure that those are done. We thank you most sincerely. And we'll see you with the ST. He's not coming on Friday. As and when he comes, we would want to come and help you with ZRA, because ZRA will come. We'll have a meeting in together and mitigate some of these issues, as it were. So we thank you most sincerely, and please, we implore you with your team that go and work on those issues. Some of them are repetitive. We've already recommended and would want to see traction. That's why we're calling you to come with AST. So I thank you most sincerely, and I want to now lift immunity. Sorry we don't have tea. You can leave. You are free to go. Thank you so much and have a good evening. Thank you. And compliments of the season.
Thank you, Chair, and compliments of the season to the Honorable House. Thank you.
Thank you. And today is Chair's birthday, so I'll put a basket when you are leaving there. Everyone, you can give offering. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
Chair.
On the light and Accountant General will account for it and collect, and auditor will check to make sure that it comes to the chair. Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.